don't even know what time you're in New York. So it's like 8 p.m. Okay.
It is 8. Yes.
Okay. So anyway, it is 5:02. So we're going to jump right in. No, you have to hit record, right, Chris? Because you're the host, not me.
I already did.
Oh, look at you. So good. Okay. So as you come in, make sure you're all muted. This is our team call night, Thursday night, is it the 6th? Yeah, May 6th. Gosh, I think I asked Dea to come on like over a month ago or something crazy. We were planning out our calls, and the reason why I asked Dea, and I can't remember if I shared this with her, but the reason why I invited her is because not only because I've watched her for years, I've been coaching for over 7 years, and she has been coaching since 2010. So that's 11 years, right? That's crazy. And I remember, I think the first time I saw you was when your story was featured in like a Super Saturday event, and like how you were an attorney and quit. Was it something? It was something where you told your story of going from being an attorney into, being a full-time coach. And it just really resonated with me because my dad was an attorney, my husband's an attorney, so that stuck with me. And then I realized she was part of Fit Club Network, and I'm like, well, so am I. And I'm like, this person that was on the screen for Super Saturday, I was like, she must be famous, right? Then I saw her in Insanity Max 30, and I was like, she is famous. How the heck did she get to be in a program with Shaun T, like the man Shaun T? And then she just kept, she's always in Fit Club Network, and her team is amazing. She asked me to speak on a team call about our flash sales that we do. So that was really cool. And I felt really cool to be able to do that. And then she was just in the BOD group for 9-week Control Freak, another like dream, right? To be in a program, also a test group. She got to be part of the BOD group test group for, or cast, for a 9-week Control Freak, because that's kind of how we're doing things now, virtually. And so what I really wanted her to come and talk about tonight is what it's like to be a test group participant, what it's like to be in a program, what it's like to go, all in on a program from start to finish and really let it fuel your business. We have so many people on this call, whether you're on this call or in our teams right now, that are crushing it with Success Club points, new coaches coming in that are really close to success starters, or, and I know that wasn't something that was around when I started coaching or when Dea started coaching. So the only way to get in a test group, is if you're famous like Dea. But there's other ways you can, do that, but it's very, very rare that somebody that's been a coach for a long time is going to have the chance to be in a test group. But with all our new coaches and just having so much success, I really wanted Dea to come on and talk about her experience with that and whatever else she wants to, and we can ask questions and things. But it's it can literally catapult your business forward. And even if we can't all be in a test group, we can all pretend like we are and take on a program that we love and do it start to finish and really follow dial on the nutrition plans, one of them that we're following, show up every single day like they do, have your own community just like we do, and have your own little test group if you've never really fully dived in to one of our programs. So, but I do want to share, because she wrote this beautiful bio. So I do want to share, what she shared with me. And like I said, she's been a coach since 2010. She is a Success Club All-Star Legend, which means that she has hit Success Club. And I don't know if it was 10 or 5, but for 24 months in a row. So you've hit Success Club 5 or higher 24 months in a row. She is a believer, which is important. She had it number 1, and that's her first thing on top. So I want to say that. A wife and a mother to 2 beautiful children. I don't know if you maybe didn't share your kids as much, but I feel like I'm seeing them more in my feed, and it's so cool to watch, because they seem so old, because I feel like they were just little on that front porch when that story that you shared, about, so when you got to, quit being an attorney. She's a leader, a former attorney, like I shared, and an advocate and a lifestyle and transformation coach. She, like I said, she was in the cast of Insanity Max 30 when we used to be could be in a building in a program with the trainers. One-time elite coach, 5-star diamond, 9-week control freak bod group, and she gets to work this business with her husband, alongside of her husband. I think that's super cool because for me, my husband's a coach on my team, but he doesn't work this business with me. Like he supports me, but he's just a coach on my team that just holds a spot. So I think it's really cool. Chris and Cody were a couple that worked this business and still work this business and get to do it full time together. So just really cool. And so I don't know if Dea, you want to share or start off with with anything, but I just want you to share your experiences with test groups and what it's done for you and your business.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Honestly, whenever I'm asked to get on like a call or speak, I'm like, who, me? Because we all started our journey as someone who just wanted to have a health or fitness transformation. And so I think that all of us start, first of all, there, and we come here because it somehow has transformed our life in some meaningful way. Typically, first from, the inside out, right? Just that physical transformation or that, health transformation, depending on whether it's nutrition or fitness. And for me, at that time, as a busy attorney who was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, when doctors told me, girl, listen, you're busy. You have toddlers. Like, that's just going to be your way of life. And I'm like, no, I don't receive that. I don't believe that. I can be healthier. I can be fit. I don't have to be obese, despite what the diagnosis may or may not be, or how other people respond, their bodies. I can take control of this. And so, my husband had been watching these infomercials back, we're talking 11 years ago now. And it was P90X. And I was a skeptic. As an attorney, your brain is wired to find the holes in everything. And so I was like, that's not real. It's just not. Like, no one gets a 6-pack in 90 days, whatever. And so he ordered it, but he didn't use it. And I was like, I'm the practical one in the house in terms of like, we paid for this, we're going to use it, And so I was like, it was $120 back then for you newbies. It was $120. And then don't forget, my husband is extra. So he's like got all the supplements and the bars, and he had everything. So it was way more than that. So I was like, we've invested this, we're going to use it, and we're going to get results. And that's what happened. Now, I did not follow the nutrition then, right? I didn't, I'm going to be honest. So I didn't get that 6-pack. But, as Kelly was saying, when you take our programs, especially now, we have the nutrition component, it is truly, truly the total package. And so we have all the pieces to the puzzle to be able to get that transformation, right? And so, it's so important that when we have that opportunity to go all in on a product, right? Whether it's, to go all in and be the test group, right? I applied to be in Insanity Max 30. I didn't know what it was at the time. I just saw an ad pop up on Facebook that Shanti was looking for, starting a new workout. And I fell in love with him in Insanity. I lost 22 pounds and 20 inches in 60 days. And that man changed my life. So I was like, you know what? If he's got something, I'm applying for it. I didn't think I was qualified. I definitely was not as fit as some of the people that I thought were supposed to be in videos. But I'm gonna say what is truly in my heart is the Holy Spirit told me, apply to this program. So I applied and I got in, and I was just like, oh my gosh, if I can be one person on that screen that is able to touch someone else from their couch or from their, floor, right, where I often was doing Insanity, then that's what I'm going to do. And I mean, I can talk forever, but it's just, it truly did just change, everything about me. And I'm just so grateful for the fact that this business has the ability to reach someone. Then it was through the DVDs, but now it's us as coaches, being that person that's holding someone's, hand, right? I mean, we, for the most part, we really become people's cheerleaders, accountability partners, and handholders through that process of, I don't think I can do this, because that was me in the warm up and every time. And if you see Max 30, it was me during Max 30. Like we are real people changing real people's lives. And so, but we have to start with us first. And that is the beauty of the ability to, when a program comes out, when we have the opportunity to be in a test group, that you take that opportunity, like the gold that it is truly, and follow it, do what you have to do, because there's nothing like having someone walk you through the nutrition and walk you through what it is you're doing and be there with you step by step, day by day, going through this experience the same time with you. There's just nothing like it. So I hope that answered at least part of your question. You know, but really, I mean, ask me anything. I am an open book because of what, it's just really transformed our lives in a really meaningful way. And one of the things I actually shared with Kelly later was, I was sort of thinking about after I sent her the bio, I had this shirt. I was getting dressed the other day and I had this shirt and it had 3 words on it. And the words were, or are, passion, power, and purpose. And despite what any of those things, in the bio or the creds, the coach cred or the credentials, whatever all that stuff looks like, what truly this business has given me is that passion that, I thought when I was 7, wanting to be an attorney and change the world, it's really given me the passion that really can change people's lives in a meaningful way. The power, right? The voice that we have to be able to impact people in this scale. I mean, who knew what social media was going to do and really give us that voice to be able to have a voice and to have power to be able to transform people's lives and a purpose. Reading books over, right, all of our personal development. And I remember reading Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. And it's like, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Right? It's that burning question, and if you've been to any seminars way back when we could go to seminars, Tony Robbins is very much into like, we have a human desire to do something that is greater than ourselves. It is a human emotional need. And for me, that is one of the things that this business really allows me to tap into. And that is that purpose that is way bigger than I am. Personally, I view what we do as a blessing and a gift. And I view it as a vehicle to minister to people in a way that allows people to see how important it is to take care of our bodies and to just be a light, right? Especially now. I mean, it's always been the case where you'll have naysayers and people who are, negative, but it's a beautiful thing when you can be a light in someone's life that they didn't know they were looking for. So.
Where's my mute button? I'm like, I love that. Like, and that it's funny because I'm on the cusp of being able to resign from my day job and do this full time. And I can't, and it's just, I've always wanted to help people. And that's, there's a lot of teachers and nurses and people that are, in the helping fields of other people. And I feel like as a coach, we get to have a voice in a different way that's not, because we're our own boss, we're our own person, we have our own platform, and we can say whatever we want and bring people, and you know what I mean, and bring people to us, and we get to be this positive light, not, when there's so much darkness and so much crap out there, we can be that positive light. And I love that about this community and coaching. But does anybody have any questions for Dea? One of the burning questions that I always have about like test groups and things, and going back to, just really digging into a program and how it can catapult your business when you go all in and start to finish. And what is it like to be like, especially like, obviously being a cast member probably was really different than even being like in the bod group cast. Like what is that like? Like what kind of attention do you get from, what type of attention do you get from Autumn? Do you get extra, nutrition tips, or or is it really just, doing the program just as we do it in our homes type thing? I'm just curious. I'm just so curious what that's like.
Yeah, so the bond group thing is obviously right, a totally new thing. And one thing I think, I don't know if I said, was I was also in an 80-day obsession test group, coach test group. So I've sort of been through 3 different phases, right, of what things kind of look like. But it is this is their livelihood as well, right? Like, so, right, I keep it real. This is their livelihood as well. So they are invested in making sure that the product that they put out works. So they work with you, right? You're in the Facebook group right now. It's Facebook groups, but you're in the Facebook groups with them, and they're there to answer your questions. So if you're doing the workouts, they're with you. Well, with the Bond Groups cast, we were doing it with her. So we were sort of live and in person. But when you're in a test group, when there's a program, right? So I guess the most similar to maybe what would be now was when I did the 80-day obsession test group, they were filming 80-day obsession, and we were watching them while they were filming it sort of, in real time as well. And so we were doing the workouts at home, preparing our own meals, but the access that you have to the super trainer is probably like one that you may never. And then the relationships that you could even develop with them through that process, right? Because you're in a challenge group, right? Or a bond group with the trainer, and they're there with you. And so like for me, right, specifically, say I talk about my autoimmune condition or diagnosis. No, she's not there sort of giving me medical advice, but she's there like, okay, well, what's your deal? Okay, well, how about this? Well, maybe we should try to tweak this, because they want to understand if you're testing it, that it works, and to see the results, and to make sure that what we put out is legit, right? That we have people who are like, that's not real, right? That was me. So we have to put out products that will produce results for real people, and real people come in every shape, size, color, everything. And so it's got to be representative of our market. And so, they're in there with you daily. We now have, right, all the recipes. So now we sort of get to choose. With 80-day obsession, of course, that was a very specific time nutrition, ultimate portion fix type situation. But now I suspect that they'll, begin to have Alana and Autumn in even whatever super trainer is doing it. So I can only imagine right now, right? Wallah's test group is probably happening, and they probably have Alana in there and Autumn, like really digging deep into what that person's results can and will be if they follow the nutrition and commit to it. And they're tracking with you. They're there in there supporting you, and and they're getting to know you if you participate, right? If you show up, right? That's one of the shirts that I bought with the launch of Let's Get Up. Show up. Like if you show up, and you show up to life every day, and you show up to your business every day, and you show up for your nutrition every day, and you show up for your team every day, what happens? You get the results. So that's what this is all about. You got to go all in. You got to go all in.
So Dea, I have a question following up on that. So just talking about showing up and doing the work and getting the results. I mean, that's why it's one of the vital behaviors is be improve the products work, right? And I'm sure it's the same on your team, because it's definitely the same on ours. Every single person who has what I would call even a semi-successful business has done a program front to back, how it's supposed to be done. And then you have all these other posers who, can't string together a 21-day program, and they're like, well, this just isn't working for me, but they hadn't really done it yet. They hadn't even really tried yet. So we even have a 3-day program, and people are like, I did the 3-day refresh. I didn't lose any weight. And I'm like, how's that possible? It's not, and you can't just say you're lying. I mean, you could, sometimes I do, but then they quit. But anyway, I mean, they're not going to do anything anyway. But so what do you say to those people? And that I guess one, are telling you, man, I'm doing everything. I'm following the nutrition plan. I'm doing everything. This is my second time in 21-day fix, and I hadn't lost any weight yet. I still look exactly the same, and then they turn off the screen and eat Cheetos or whatever. Right. But, so what do you say to those people? Or first, you got those on your team too?
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
Okay, so I
They're
mean,
everywhere.
I'm sure there's none of them on this call are going to listen to the recording, but you know, they are out there. In my 12 years of coaching, we've had them. So you know, I guess what do you say to those people? And you know, and I say this actually understanding there's not really a magic answer. They're either going to do it or not. But you know, sometimes it helps if they hear it from somebody else. So what do you got to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, right? It's like the kids say, or my kids say, it's like show me the receipts. Like, are you tracking your food? What are you doing? Like there, it is scientifically proven that this will work, right? Like you're not different than the hundreds of people who have probably already been through this test group. So, you know, track your food, write it down, you know, drink your shake, you know, follow your nutrition, show up, post the pictures, you know. And it's funny, I've been called, right? I've been like called out. We've been in groups and someone will post a picture of their food and I'm like, what's that red stuff on your burger, you know, or whatever, you know. And I'm like, they're like, oh, that's barbecue sauce. I'm like, did you make it, or is that like Kraft barbecue sauce? Because that is not on the meal plan, you know. And so it's like, you know, you really have to be like, what? You have to call them out on the BS, right? You got to call them out on the BS. I got to call BS. Like,
And,
no, I don't know.
right,
If
and
that
you
didn't
know,
work, then let's try something else.
and so, you know, just for everybody else that's on the call, I mean, you know, like I'm not sitting here with a six pack right now. Actually, I've never had a six pack, you know, but I've made a ton of money at this and I've helped a lot of people. And, you know, so we're not saying, nobody is saying, and I'm sure Dea's not saying either, that you always have to be, you know, following a meal plan 100%. I mean, this is real life. That's part of my attraction, I think, for the people who come to me, is they're like, you know what, that guy, sometimes he drinks beer during calls, but
See, I almost had a
overall,
beverage.
right, overall, he's relatively healthy, you know, and you know, and so he's real. I mean, and because there's some people who they are going to be looking, you know, for a Danielle Natoni or somebody shredded like that. But then there's going to be people looking for people like me and you, right?
Yeah.
Whoever you are, there's somebody looking for somebody just like you to show them that it can be done. And I think
Right.
that, you know, it's so important that you show them that it can be done instead of being like, oh man, missed another workout today, you know, and show them all the great excuses they can make. Like if you're not doing it, why would they come to you to help them do something that you haven't even been able to do yourself? So which programs have you done? Which one's your favorite? I'm curious about that.
Oh boy, I have different favorites in different seasons, right? So Insanity will always have a special place in my heart because it was like the first one that I did that like really I saw the results and I was like, this I can do. No equipment, this is it, right? But then to your point, life happens. I'm not the same age I was 11 years ago. I don't have the same body, don't have the same knees, you know? And so there's a point in my life when I'm like, do I want to do that for all the time? No. Am I honest about that? Yes. So authentically sharing your story in the way that, you know, as you traverse through life and the transformations that you will go through, because they're different. So now, you know, I did love 9-week Control Freak. MBF is actually one of my sleeper favorites, which I did not think that I was gonna love. But back to the DVD days, I have probably done every single workout program in our library, probably other than, and that's, I sort of eliminate the ones I have not done. So I've probably done every single one other than like Tai Chang. I still have not done the work or the prep. And the reasons why, I think I was in a test group or something when it came out. And I want to do it, but we keep releasing new programs that I want to do. So I'm going to have to find a way to fit those in. But, you know, to your point, it depends on where I am in life and where my body is and where, you know, like how I want it to feel. Bar Blend was not my favorite. So here's the thing, like we have to be real with people about what it is that, you know, that we love, right? Because as we're talking to people, it also has to be authentic. Like, you know what? That was not my favorite. Same thing with Greenberry Shakeology. I'm not mad it was discontinued. It wasn't my favorite. But so as I'm talking to people, I'm telling them this stuff because we do have something for everyone. The key is finding what is for you, at what stage you are in and what's going to be realistic for your life. So is it going to be a 21-day fix? Because you can say, I got 3 weeks, I can do 7 days a week for 30 minutes. Or is it a P90X, 90 days, an hour to an hour and a half a day? So it's really about, for me, checking myself on where I am mentally and emotionally, like, what am I going to dial into? So, my favorite program is the one that I know I'm going to do and I know I can stick to. That's realistic for me in my life. So I hope that answered you.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool because, I mean, we started coaching pretty close to around the same time. And so, you say a lot of the stuff that I say too, like, when people are like, hey, which program's the best one? I'm like, well, the one you're going to do consistently.
Yeah, the one you're going to do.
That's the best program for you, is the one you're going to do consistently. And to talk a little bit, or to circle back around to you talking about, that you were an attorney, and Kelly touched on it a little bit too, but I used to be a cop, and one of the things
you and my husband share that in common, if you remember.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. But I was like, this is a noble profession. It's a noble profession, where and you were talking about wanting to do something bigger than yourself or whatever. So it's really about leaving a legacy, right? Like, there's people that I'm like, I don't have any idea who they are. You have impacted people's lives who you have no idea who they are, right? Because you signed up somebody who signed up somebody who signed up somebody else who signed that person up, or even just sold them a challenge pack, and so I don't have any problem telling people what I do. And I think that it's super noble. And as I was telling Jules there, who this is her first time on a call, and she is a teacher, right? Did you say you're a teacher too? Yeah. I mean, teachers and nurses crush it on our team, at least, because they wanted to help people when they grew up, like you did when you were 7 and want to be an attorney. And then later you were like, you know what? I could help people do Beachbody, and that's a lot easier on my commute and my family life and everything else. So yeah, I really love what you brought to the table tonight. That was awesome. Who else got something?
Of course, we would be remiss if we didn't say that, Team Beachbody does not guarantee any results.
You are an attorney. You were an attorney.
Everything is based on your own efforts, diligence, and skill. Please see the independent earnings report in the Coach online office. I have to throw that in there. You're right. It's part of,
See, I just tell people, I'm like, hey, if you
do the work,
your ass, then this will work. If you don't, then it won't. And
it's recorded now, so we're on the record.
That's right. I think mine's good too. Mine covers it.
Laura, Jules, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off.
All right, go ahead. Somebody.
I have a question.
Yes.
So she was part of the testing group. And when they do these test groups, do they target different? I mean, what are they targeting? Is it different things each time, or specific targets for specific groups? Like, for example, are they setting up a session or testing for like people who are within a certain age group, or people who have certain disabilities, or people who have certain things going on in their lives? Or are they targeting just like for the program that they're getting ready to launch?
I honestly don't know the sort of the science about who they're targeting for what, but in terms of as a coach, like you, this being your first call, and you having the opportunity to be in a test group, that the coaches who have that opportunity, it's just going to be the whole representation of who we are as a body of coaches, of those people who have qualified to be in the test group. So, sort of what they look for when they're doing maybe other test groups, I don't know. But in terms of coaches having the opportunity to be in the test group, that is strictly really a reward for your hard work in helping others. And you have the opportunity to test it and be one of those people who, get to
Okay, I
experience that.
see.
Does that help answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. I get it
Okay.
now. I was kind of
Yeah.
looking at it from a different angle than what, okay, so I get it. Yeah.
Right. So the test group
Thank
isn't
you.
necessarily from a marketing standpoint generally, at least, especially now the test group within the coach network. So there's like the test group before the program launches, where they're like, okay, let's make sure that this is how it works. And so they bring those people in, and then they bring in people to film it. But then after they film it, the test group that most of us would, or you in particular, not me, because I'm old and been around for a long time, but you get invited to a test group by becoming a success starter. And so what a success starter is somebody that makes Success Club 3 out of their first 6 months and is co-adminning a bod group. Super important to add that, because we had somebody that we had to pull some strings to get them in because they didn't use a bod group. But it's really cool, Jules and everybody else. If you make when you make success starters, you get a free ticket to Summit, which that's generally worth $150, $200. You get a free ticket to the annual conference. You get the program for free, and you get to do it before everybody else, and you get in that small group with the trainer. So as a brand new coach, I would tell you that you should make sure that you are a success starter so that you get to do all those things.
Put that on your goal board.
Okay,
Yep.
I'll do that.
Yes.
Back to
Okay.
you, Kelly. You're back in church. Or Laura, you had something to say? Sorry.
I have 2 questions, but my house is like kirking out because it's like bedtime. So if you hear screaming, that's all that's going on. It's normal. Okay, so my first one is, what was your moment where you just decided, I really want to go for this? Like, I don't want to dabble, I really want to go. And the second question is, how or what advice do you have to get coaches past Emerald to Diamond, like with working coaches? Do you have, you know what I mean? There's Diamond because you created Diamond, and which is fine, but there's building coaches who have working coaches. So I'd love to hear if you have any insight around that.
So for your first question about sort of when did I make that decision? Well, you guys have probably heard, right? There's the day that you sign up as a coach, and then there's the day that you decide to become a coach, right? For me, there were phases of it, right? So I signed up in 2010, right? The first time I saw that this was something that I really wanted to do was, I want to say in 2012, we were awarded the Success Club trip to Atlantis in the Bahamas. And that, for me, to earners in the home, back then with successful careers, we're putting our trips on credit cards, and paying for it well after we got back, because we earned a vacation, that was the thought process. So we were going to go by any means necessary. And when we sort of stepped on that beach, and it was like, wait, what? This, you rewarding me for doing this, for helping people, for doing my air quotes job? What? Who does that? Beachbody, And so that, I was just kind of like, there are people here who are doing this, this, I could do this, I can do this exact thing. And then there were points where economy and things sort of changed, not very unlike, the last year or so for a lot of people. My job at the time, they were doing us a favor, air quotes, and they didn't lay people off when the economy, did what it did, but they cut our salaries. And it was like, here, we're keeping everyone, great news, but by the way, here's a pay cut. That was not well received for anyone, who has bills. And so I was like, all right, if I can't count on what I was trained to do, all of the things that I have a thing here. I have something here that I have been doing and building that is creating freedom, that when that happened, it didn't affect us. And it was like, this is, this is a blessing. Like this, I didn't have to stress. I didn't like that they were doing that, right? Because we didn't know it was coming, but it didn't burden us the way that it could have if I had not had this business and had been, working this business. So, I think, so yeah, the decision came when, you go to these events and you see regular people, right? Like you and me doing this and enjoying life. And, if you know any attorneys, right? Most of them are skeptical and, analytical and, and it's like, I was like, I can be around people who are positive and doing things that impact the community and still be home with my children and, not miss everything that they're doing because I'm working or in the office or glued to my crackberry, as I used to call it back then. So yeah, I don't know I hope that answered you, but there are specific periods where you start to question whether is what I'm doing worth what I'm doing, and can this other thing that I'm doing be way more than it is if I do these things, right? And that goes to Chris's point about if I put in the same effort that I was putting in to my air quote career that I was doing at the time, what could that do for my life and my family's life? And what kind of legacy do I want to leave? I literally used to say this, and God has a way of reminding you of things. As I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, I used to say, I don't want the end of my life to be she was a good attorney. Like I don't want that. I don't want people to stand up for me at the end of my life and say she was a great attorney. Like, what was my impact? What was I able to do for people, for others, and through this vehicle? And so that is, something that I want people to say.
That was super powerful.
I was just
Thank
gonna say the same thing.
The second question was working diamonds, or not working diamonds, but diamonds who like are at the point where they don't create it themselves, but they are getting on their feet to getting their own coaches working.
Right. So I think Chris would probably say the same thing. You would love to have that magic ball of, how do you get people to catch it, right? Like to get it, for it to click, the light bulb, that moment, that aha, that yes, I'm doing this. You cannot control other people. So there's no magic answer, but I always sort of go back to, you have to start with you, right? And really work on yourself, right? How do you respond to those people? How do you deal with those sort of setbacks and comebacks? And, how do you adapt, right? And so, I've been here for a long time. I've seen, I said I'm a lifetime 5-star diamond. Because there are pieces to this of people coming and going and deciding, is this for me? Is this not for me? You just want to find the people who are your people and who want to do this with you. But it takes people to get to that point. So there's no magic number, if someone's looking here saying, okay, what if I get 20 coaches and the rank is great, but if you want people who see this with you and who will build this with you and who will stay in this with you. Because the rank, the numbers, none of that you can control, and none of that you can sort of calculate. It's finding yourself, right? Once you have gotten it, it's finding who you are and finding the people who perhaps have the same, pain points? I mean, I guess that's the only way to sort of describe this. What are you looking for in this business? Why did you find it? Find those people who would, right? For me, it was who want time freedom, right? It wasn't, I don't think I ever recruit people personally that are like, yes, I want to do this for the money, despite the fact that you know, that you can build a significant income if you do the work. But I wasn't looking for that, right? So I'm attracting people who want freedom, who want time, who want control of their life, who want to live, to have more, be more. So I don't know if that answered you, but there's no magic number. You can't sort of take the magic crystal ball and say, okay, you are it, because I find that it's actually the people who you don't think are going to latch on and grow that do, and the people who you do think are the ones that don't. So I approach everyone with the business, everyone, everyone, because someone might have even discounted me for the business because of what they might have preconceived or thought about what I want out of my life or what I was looking for. And the same can be said for probably every single one of you on this call. You don't know what you want until you have it, right? So it's like, you start with the business. Start with the business and go from there, because you never know what someone is looking for. And when you start with the business, hopefully you'll find people who are interested in the business, right? And will want to work the business. But if sometimes we start with fitness, that's where we put people, and we put them in that box, and we don't think that they want to coach, or that they can see the vision or see what it is that this can do. And don't put them in the box. Ask everyone if they've ever considered being a coach, having more time freedom, earning more income, being home with their kids, right? Having their kids in summer camp, right? Your post was powerful. So what I ask everyone, have you ever considered? Those 4 words are powerful, because you have no idea until you ask the question. So you got to ask the question.
Well, I think and we talk about this a lot in our team, and is that we get better, and it becomes easier to post about the fitness and the workout programs that we're doing. And we forget to share the business side because we're nervous, and it does take work, and, and so it's like, we forget to share that part, and then people don't know that that's even a possibility. And then we get upset, or we get frustrated when we don't have people, we don't bring people on that want to work the business, and we want to have a huge, a bigger impact business wise, as well as, health and fitness wise. So we get frustrated. We're like, well, we get all these people to sign up for challenge packs or to sign up for a program, but we're not bringing them onto our team, or they just want to be a discount coach because we're not sharing. You're doing a really good job of sharing how the health and fitness has changed your life, but then we forget to share how the business side has changed our life. And it doesn't mean you have to be a full-time working coach. It doesn't mean you have to be $1 million earner or anything, with this. And I used to believe that I wasn't successful because I wasn't a certain rank of a coach, or I wasn't, didn't have these huge monthly, income numbers. But when I go back and look back when I was a single mom, and I was earning several $100s a month to pay bills and have extra, that's very impactful for tons of people that we talk to, or that are waiting to hear what we have to offer, and we're not sharing it. And so I just think that's it's those smaller things that really become more meaningful. I might even say that people are like, they might think, looking at me, or maybe even Chris, I don't want to do that full time. You don't have to, it's whatever you want. So share the small wins. They're more relatable anyway, right? Like, you were able to go get a manicure and a pedicure or something, or, share those things, because that's what's meaningful. And if it's meaningful to you, it's going to be meaningful to someone else. So it's like Kelly said, it doesn't have to be, I've got all these shiny lights and things. That it doesn't matter. Share your story that's authentic to you. And one of the things that I also tell my coaches and people, you have to check your belief. You have to check your belief, because if you don't believe it's possible, no one's going to believe you telling them it's possible. So you have to check your own belief about what's possible.
So once you do that and you truly believe that this is something that you can do, whether it's $100 or $1 million, you got to check your belief. They feel that, they see that.
And you know what? And I'll add to that. It's 100% mindset is so important. But then you got to do it too, right? I mean, I was talking to somebody, she's not on our team, but she was in the 1K club. And so I just checked in with her and I'm like, hey, so, you diamond yet? And she's like, no, I can't find any working coaches. And, she's not on my team, so I can be a little bit more forthright. And I'm like, well, how many coaches have you signed in the last 3 months? And she's like, 1. I'm like, well, no wonder you can't find any working coaches. You're not a working coach. Like, the answer is always talk to more people, and it's not, it's not her not being able to find working coaches because there aren't any out there. It's because she's not working,
Right.
Your business is exactly where you deserve it to be right now, as both of us sitting here at our lifetime ranks and whatever, and we may be happy with our rank and our income and all that other stuff, but if we aren't happy with it, it's our fault anyway. It's 100% our fault. Your health and your fitness and your business, they all exactly where you deserve them to be based on the time and effort you put into it.
That's right. That's right.
That should be the Beachbody disclaimer.
I was going to say, that is the disclaimer. That is the disclaimer.
One for the health and fitness side and one for the business side.
Sorry, can I ask a quick question? You guys talked about the Success Starter and the BOD group. We just have a Facebook group, so what exactly?
Yeah. So the BOD group, me too, right? I basically, but you need to start a BOD group, even if you're the only one in it, right? And it's silly, but that's what corporate says. They're like, look, you just got to check this box. They're really pushing BOD groups, and eventually, it's going to catch on and be reliable enough to where I'm going to tell people, you need to go do it, but I'm not tech savvy, so I don't like BOD groups right now. But there are some people who are crushing it in BOD groups. But so you need to you need to create a BOD group and become an admin just so you got that box checked, okay? And throw your husband and a couple other people in there just for grins.
Perfect. Thank you.
Great question.
So it is almost 9 o'clock for poor Dea and anybody else that's on the East Coast. You are Kim. I didn't know you were Kim. So any last questions before we let her go and get some beauty sleep? So she has a wedding tomorrow, not hers, but she's gonna go do it. All right. Well, I just thank you so much. I love getting to hear from you, and I love that our paths crossed so many years ago. Anyway, I'm just so grateful that you, especially on such a busy travel day and team call night and all this stuff, that you graced us with your words of wisdom. And I got a lot of great nuggets, and I hope other people did too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, I was just going to say thank you real quick because I share your faith, and you, for me, have been a role model of how that can look in the coaching world. And I think everyone has their passions, and your passion is what you need to be talking about, not about workouts all the time. And so I just wanted to say thanks for being a leader in my life and showing me how it can look.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful night, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.